everyone, and welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going to be tackling a classic in the personal finance world, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin.
That's a good one.
It really gets you thinking differently about, well, money and really your life. I mean, we talk a lot about financial goals on this show, right?
Right.
But this book, it kind of flips the script and asks, what are your life goals? And how does your money, how does it all fit in with that bigger picture?
Yeah, it's about getting intentional.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. One of the first things this book really hammers home is you got to know where you're starting from.
Absolutely.
I mean, it seems obvious, right? Like, before you can figure out where you're going, got to know where you are right now.
Yeah.
But so many of us, I include myself in this, we kind of avoid taking that honest look at our finances.
It can be scary. I get it.
It can be. But your money or your life, it says, like, no more hiding, time to calculate your net worth.
It's like the cornerstone of making any kind of sound financial plan. You wouldn't start a road trip without knowing where you're starting from, right?
Right.
Same thing with your money. Your net worth, it's like that snapshot right now of what you own, your assets, minus what you owe your liabilities.
It's like finally facing that stack of bills you've been putting off.
Yeah.
But instead of it being this awful, dreadful thing, it's actually about getting organized and feeling more in control.
Exactly. And the cool thing is the book, it lays out this really clear step-by-step way to actually calculate your net worth.
Well,
And it encourages you to embrace those numbers, not be afraid of them.
it's not about judging yourself for past spending or anything like that. It's about gaining that clarity so you can make smarter choices moving forward.
Precisely. And that's where things get really interesting, right? Because once you've got a handle on that current financial picture, then you can start to see how it connects to the actual time you're spending earning that money.
Oh.
And that leads us to one of the book's big ideas, life energy.
Life energy. So what is that? What's that all about?
Yeah, so this is where your money or your life really, I think, shifts your perspective.
Yeah.
It introduces this idea of life energy, which is basically all those hours, that energy that you're putting in to actually earn your income.
Okay.
It's not just about the dollar amount on your paycheck. It's about the piece of your life that you're trading. You're literally trading for it.
It's kind of like you buy, I don't know, like a new phone, and it's like, oh, yeah, it cost me whatever it costs. But it's also like, that's a week of my life,
Right.
that I spent at work to be able to buy this thing. It makes you kind of reevaluate a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the book even takes it a step further. It's like, okay, now that we're thinking this way, let's actually calculate your real hourly wage.
Okay.
So not just what your employer says you make an hour, but factoring in everything,
Yeah.
commuting costs,
Yeah.
work clothes, even that daily latte. If you're buying that on your way to work every day, it can be really eye-opening
Yeah.
to see how much of your time is actually going into each paycheck.
And then you start thinking about, okay, if this is how much of my time this is actually costing me, how much of that is lining up with what's important to me?
Yeah, exactly. It's about aligning your spending with your values, right? And, that whole idea of our time being this precious resource, it really got me thinking about that study that's mentioned in the book. I think you probably remember it, but the link between people who are constantly focused on wealth and status
Yeah.
and how they tend to have higher rates of depression and anxiety.
That part really, it stuck with me too. I mean, why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I think if we're always striving for that next dollar or that next promotion, whatever that next shiny object is, it's easy to lose sight of the things that actually bring us joy.
Right. Yeah.
The things that actually make us feel fulfilled, and, we just kind of end up on this treadmill of consumerism, never quite feeling satisfied.
Yeah.
And, one thing I really appreciate about your money or your life
Yeah.
is that it kind of offers a way off that treadmill.
Right.
It's about realizing that true wealth, it's about so much more than just our bank accounts.
Yes.
It's about experiences. It's about relationships. It's about purpose. It's about, living in alignment with those values.
Yeah. Now, speaking of money, the book also delves into, everyone's favorite topic, investing.
Right.
And I'll be honest, this is usually the point where I kind of my eyes start to glaze over a little bit.
Yeah.
But I got to say, your money or your life, they have a way of making it approachable,
Yeah. They really, I think they emphasize the long game
Okay.
and the importance of starting simply.
So instead of day trading and all that, really complicated stuff, what's their approach?
Well, they're big on building a really solid foundation, and they talk about things like treasury bonds
Okay.
and exchange-traded funds, ETFs.
ETFs. Okay, that sounds a little less like Wall Street-y, a little more like, something I could wrap my head around. What are those?
So basically, ETFs, think of them like baskets of different stocks or bonds. So you're kind of getting
Mm,
that instant diversification, which is always good because it helps spread out your risk. And they're usually
makes sense.
very accessible, even for beginners.
Okay, so it's like dipping your toe in the investing pool instead of like diving in the deep end.
Exactly. And your money or your life, they really emphasize that you don't have to be, a financial whiz to get started with this stuff. They break it down really well. And they're really big on making sure you've got that solid emergency fund in place before you even think about investing.
Right, which, yeah, makes sense. Got to have that safety net.
Exactly. It's all about, taking those calculated risks and not, putting all your eggs in one basket, as they say.
So if we're gonna like sum up big takeaways from your money or your life, know your numbers, figure out that whole life energy thing, see where your time's really going, and
Mhm.
don't be afraid to dip your toes into that investing pool, right? It's a lot, but it's exciting. It feels like you can actually do something with this stuff.
Absolutely. And it all comes back to that idea of aligning your choices with your values, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's about creating a life that's rich with experiences, not just with stuff. So as you go forward, think about how can you use this life energy concept even in your everyday spending?
That's a good one to sit with for a while. I like that. Well, big thanks to Vicki Robin for the wisdom, and to you, of course, for breaking it down and making it all make sense. And to everyone listening, remember, financial freedom, it's a journey. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we will be here with you every step of the way. Until next time, happy diving.